Hey, I'm Kai, and Thorn have sent me out their new steam compressor, so maybe it's time I accept compressors into my rig. I want to try out the steam compressor with a few different tones today to see what I find myself liking it in. All the tones you hear in this video are going to be my Balaguer Espada running through the Engel Powerball 2, though I'm mostly going to be on channel 1 and channel 2 for this. Whenever I've set up a chain in a digital modeler, I've always found myself using a compressor, yet when it comes to real life tones, I've never been too keen on them. I'm guessing that's just because I had never previously found a compressor pedal that works for me. Now I'll give a quick run through of the controls on the steam compressor, though they are pretty straightforward as far as compressors go. Threshold controls at what point the compressor starts to kick in, amount is the heaviness of the compression, and output is going to be your overall level. You've got the attack and release, which controls how quickly the compressor reacts to your playing. You also have an auto switch which overrides the attack and release knobs and instead does this automatically. The only non-standard thing to mention here is that the Thorn steam compressor has a detail knob. This brings back some of your high end, which is particularly important when you're compressing pretty heavily. The top LED shows the status of the compression itself. Blue means that it's not compressing at all, and red means that it is compressing. I personally don't do a lot of single coil clean stuff, but for a compressor demo it's pretty much a necessity. We'll hear what this sounds like raw just with a touch of spring reverb from the Line 6 HX1, and then I'll dial in the compressor afterwards. So since this is such a high wattage amp, we have got a super high headroom clean tone going. This gives us plenty of space to start compressing it. As you can hear, it's doing quite a lot to the dynamics there, especially in the difference between the low string and the higher string. I'll now just dial this one in specifically for the type of tone I would personally use for this. That's a really nice natural type of compression rather than the sort of super squishy thing you might get with something like the Boss CS3 for instance. Now I'll move on to the second tone now, and this should be a pretty easy win for a compressor pedal. I'm going to go for an ambient clean tone. This is going to be that same super sparkly clean tone with a couple of pedals on. I've got the UA Effects Heavenly Plate, I've got the Wampler Doctor, and I've also got the Line 6 HX1 running. We'll hear it with the pedal off first, and then I'll kick the pedal on. I really enjoy what the compressor is doing here. It smooths out all of the dynamics so that nothing really punches you in the face, but it retains the clarity and the detail and the note separation. So the next tone I'm going to go through is a crunchy style rhythm tone and see what we can do with the compressor to get this nice and spanky. I'm also swapping out the impulse response, so rather than a Fender IR, we've now got a Marshall 4x12. It's a pretty basic crunch tone on the amp. If anything, it's a little bit undergained so that we can boost it the rest of the way using the compressor. So that was the tone without the compressor. We'll now kick the compressor on. I'd say it gets a little bit bright even with the detail down on 0, however that does give a nice amount of spank to the tone and you can always counteract it with the amp settings. Now something that I've seen a lot of other people do that I've never been able to make work for myself is running a compressor into another drive pedal and then into the amp. Compressors for me are really more about the clean tones, since I usually run drives into the amp at the point where there is no more headroom left to compress. That said, trying out new things with new pedals is part of the reason why we get them. I think the best case scenario for this would be a super dynamic drive pedal rather than a fuzz, and we'll stick with this low gain crunch sort of tone. I'm going to use the Earthquaker Devices plumes to take the amp up into that sort of distortion territory, and then we'll see about using the compressor to push it the rest of the way for a lead tone. So from here, the compressor will really just add a little bit of extra sustain, a little bit of extra push on some lead tones. I will also engage the Universal Audio Heavenly Plate for this. Finally, I want to see how the compressor fares into the front end of the Holy Island Audio Tides, which is an all-in-one post-rock ambience generator sort of pedal featuring a Bluesbreaker style drive and a dirty reverb. My hope here is that the steam compressor will be able to keep it under control just a little bit more. That did pretty much exactly what I was hoping it would do. It softened things out nicely and just sort of turned it into an ambient wash rather than the maybe more lead tone focused thing we had going previously. I will say once you are running into a dirtier tone like this, the compressor starts to matter less and less, especially when you have it first in the chain. Overall, I think this is a really nice pedal. It's definitely more of a studio style compressor rather than the pedal type compressors like the MXR Dynacomp for instance, and I personally really enjoy that. It doesn't really do that super squishy funk rhythm guitar thing, and I'm kind of glad about that. While it is incredibly hard to demo a compressor pedal, I hope you were able to hear the differences. It's one of those pedals that you don't really fully appreciate until you turn it off and you hear the difference that it had been making. It does a really good job of shelving off some of those harder dynamics while also bringing up the softer dynamics without making them feel too aggressive. I still don't think I'm fully converted to using compressor pedals on anything above a pushed clean, but it's nice to know that the option is there if I want it. I do think this pedal is going to be going on my pedal board. That is everything I've got for this video, so if you wanted to pick one of these up for yourself, please do so using my Tom Mann affiliate link in the description box down below. Also, while you're down there, if you would like to join my Discord, that would be greatly appreciated. We chat all things guitars, bass, amps, and pedals. Until next time though, I've been Kai.